Welcome back to the Deep Dive, where we take your essential reading material, your research, your notes, your coaching material, and we try to distill it all down into actionable, engaging insight.
Mm-hmm.
Today, we're looking past the victory lap. I mean, we've all felt that surge of excitement, right? That immense relief of hitting the launch button on a new website, a portfolio, whatever digital project it is.
Oh, for sure. The confetti moment.
Exactly. But what happens the day after that launch? Or a week after? That's where the real work, and I think the real sustained digital growth, that's where it all begins.
It's the moment of truth, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're diving into some really fantastic source material here. Specifically, we're looking at some high-level coaching documentation that's focused on the sustained discipline you need to go from being a builder, someone who just creates a thing, to a genuine digital
Developer, someone who nurtures it.
Someone who nurtures and guides that creation. And the crucial element in this whole transformation, as these sources really lay out, is leveraging AI as your indispensable co-pilot.
Okay, so the mission today is precise. We want to equip you, our listener, with the exact routines, the precise tools, and maybe most importantly, the crucial mindset shifts you need to move quickly from that initial build phase to a position of, sustained digital relevance and leadership.
We're trying to distill the knowledge that prevents your hard work from becoming like a digital relic 6 months down the line.
The ghost town, yeah.
The philosophical foundation here is captured perfectly in the source material, and it really sets the stage for everything we're going to talk about. The line is, a website is like a living tree launching plants it, but growth depends on care. You've put the seed in the ground, but you can't just walk away and expect it to reach the sky. You have to water it consistently. You have to prune it strategically and protect it from the elements.
That analogy is perfect because it immediately introduces the idea of time, and consistent effort. A tree doesn't just shoot up overnight.
Not at all.
So by the end of this deep dive, you're going to understand how to approach this whole digital maintenance and growth cycle. We're going to cover, I think, 6 crucial knowledge areas. First, how to keep your site fresh, secure, and relevant after that launch.
Yeah, the basics.
Second, how to leverage AI, not just for creation, but for structured content planning, strategic analysis, and growth tracking. Third, we'll look at how to automate those tedious, repetitive maintenance tasks that just drain your creative energy.
The ones everyone hates doing.
Totally. Fourth, we'll hit on the vital importance of security as a continuous shield. Fifth, we'll talk about scaling your infrastructure for real audience growth. And finally, how to truly cultivate that long-term digital leader mindset. So let's unpack this discipline.
Let's do it.
So where do we start?
Well, we have to start with the concept that trips up most creators. The ones who struggle to move past that first burst of enthusiasm. It's a fundamental and, honestly, a sometimes painful truth. Websites don't necessarily grow old. They grow stale.
Oof.
Yeah. And that is a critical philosophical distinction.
Stale implies neglect, right? It's not about age. I mean, a site that is technically old but is always maintained, like an archive or something with a classic design, it can still be trustworthy. But a stale site, no matter how new it is, it just screams abandonment.
Exactly. Stale means a visitor lands on your page and sees these obvious signs of neglect. Maybe the copyright date in the footer says 2022.
Oh, that's a classic.
Or they find outdated pricing for a service you don't even offer anymore. Or worse, they click a vital link, like contact us, and they hit a 404 error page.
Their trust just plummets instantly.
It evaporates. That neglect broadcasts one painful message.
Yeah.
The owner isn't paying attention. And look, if the owner doesn't respect their own digital real estate, why on earth should the visitor?
And it's not just the visitors who lose trust, is it? It's the search engines, too. I mean, if your site isn't showing regular signals of life, new content, updated links, whatever, the algorithms just assume you're not the best source anymore.
They assume you're no longer reliable, and your visibility just naturally starts to degrade. It's a slow fade into irrelevance.
So what's the big insight from the coaching material on this? How do we reframe it?
The coach's insight cuts right through the jargon. Maintenance equals respect for your own work.
I like that.
It's not a chore, it's a commitment. It tells the world, I am present, I am reliable, I take this seriously. And that shift in perspective, it frames maintenance as a form of brand building, a sustained professional presence.
That's a really powerful reframing. So, okay, to manage this respect and broadcast reliability, the sources break it down into 3 distinct but deeply connected pillars. They call them the interlocking gears of website health.
And that's the key: interlocking. You neglect one, and the other two start to grind to a halt. So you really have to keep all three spinning.
So let's detail them. What's the first gear?
The first gear is technical maintenance.
This is the engine room, right? The stuff under the hood.
It is, yeah. Technical maintenance focuses squarely on speed, security, and stability. When people talk about libraries, they're talking about the underlying software components, the bundles of code that your website relies on.
Like plugins and themes in WordPress.
Exactly. Or your
Yeah.
language dependencies if you have a custom setup. And when these libraries get updated, it's often because a security vulnerability was found or a performance bottleneck was fixed.
So ignoring those little update notifications is actually a really big deal.
It's a huge deal.
Yeah.
Your site slows down, which creates a terrible user experience. And much more dangerously, you're basically leaving a backdoor wide open for malicious attacks.
Okay, so if I ignore the technical gear, my site could crash or it could get hacked. My hard work just disappears. So that's the infrastructure check. What's the second gear?
The second gear is content maintenance.
This is the stuff people actually see.
Right. This is the public face of your site. It's all about accuracy, relevance, and value. If you run a resource site about financial planning, for example, you have to make sure your tax information reflects the current laws.
Or if you're a blog on AI, you need to update posts when new models are released.
Precisely. This pillar demands you constantly check for outdated pricing, broken product links, or information that's just become obsolete.
Yeah.
This is how you avoid that feeling of staleness we were talking about.
Okay, and the third gear, which I feel like is the one that often gets the least attention, is user engagement.
It's so critical for growth, though. User engagement focuses on the feedback loop. I mean, it's not enough to just publish content into the void. You have to foster interaction.
So responding to emails, replying to comments.
All of it. Addressing concerns on social media, running polls. That interaction, that responsiveness, it confirms to the user that there's a real dedicated person behind the screen. If you're building a community but you never actually talk to them, you're abandoning the most vital growth engine you have.
Which is loyalty and word of mouth.
The best kind of marketing there is.
So just to sum it how they interlock. If the technical gear fails, the site is down or it's insecure.
Yep.
If the content gear fails, visitors leave because the information is stale or they just don't trust it. And if the engagement gear fails, you never learn what technical issues need fixing or what content needs updating because you're ignoring the very people who can tell you.
They really are inseparable. The whole goal of digital discipline is to keep all three of those gears spinning smoothly together.
Okay, but that sounds like a lot of work. The average creator is already juggling content, marketing, maybe a day job. Nobody wants to spend their weekend manually hunting for dead links.
No, absolutely not. And this is the inflection point. This is where AI completely transforms the nature of this work.
Right. So the core principle here is that AI tools are meant to handle the routine, the repetitive, the low-value tasks, freeing up the human creator to focus on high-value, high-impact creativity and strategy.
This is the essence of what the coach calls the time dividend. And there's an important philosophical note here. Automation is meant to free your time to learn, not to laze.
That's a great point.
You don't automate tasks just so you can scroll social media for another hour. You automate them so you can spend that saved time developing your next big course or learning advanced SEO or just understanding your audience better. The goal is to reinvest that time.
Okay, let's get into the mechanics, because the sources have some excellent, really specific examples with actionable prompts and even suggested tools. Let's start with the most critical foundational task: weekly backups.
Database safety it's everything. If you don't have backups, you don't really have a business. And while your hosting company might handle the actual backup itself, the discipline of verification and reporting is where AI-driven automation just shines.
So what's the prompt for that?
It's straightforward. Schedule weekly site backup alerts and verification checks.
And how do we actually execute that? What tools are we using?
You'd use an automation platform, something like Zapier or they're like digital glue that connects different apps. So you could connect your hosting provider's API to Zapier and set up a rule.
Like a recipe.
Exactly. You tell it. If a successful backup confirmation is not received by 9 a.m. every Monday, send me a notification in Slack and a priority email. This takes human forgetfulness completely out of the equation. It automates the discipline of checking.
Love that. Okay, next up, security and audit. Specifically, automating the tedious job of finding broken links. These are like the silent killers of trust and SEO.
They're so insidious. I mean, on a big site with hundreds of pages, manually checking every single link is just impossible to do regularly. This is where specialized tools with AI logic come in. The prompt given is, find and list all dead links on my site and identify the source page.
And you could run that through something like Ahrefs.
You could use a big SEO tool like Ahrefs, which crawls your site systematically. Or you could even upload your site structure to an advanced version of ChatGPT, feed it your Google Search Console error reports, and ask it to consolidate everything into a single, actionable, prioritized spreadsheet.
So what was a huge weekend-long job becomes a quick to-do list.
A 10-minute check-in. It instantly boosts trust because visitors aren't hitting those dead ends.
Okay, shifting gears to visibility, let's talk SEO refinement. This is where AI starts to touch on the creative side, but still handles a really repetitive task optimizing meta descriptions.
Meta descriptions are so important. They're that little snippet of text under your page title in the search results. They aren't a direct ranking factor, but they are absolutely critical for getting people to actually click on your link, your click-through rate.
And writing compelling ones for hundreds of pages is, well, it's tedious. It's work that just falls off the to-do list.
Always. So the AI prompt suggested is rewrite meta descriptions for better click-through, focusing on a sense of urgency and value.
And you'd use something like ChatGPT or Writesonic for that.
Yeah, tools like that can ingest your page content and instantly generate 5 compelling, optimized options that stick to the character limits and follow best practices. Then you, the human, just choose the best one.
So you automate the draft generation, and then you apply the human polish.
That is the perfect way to put it. Automate the draft, humanize the final output. It saves immense time and mental energy.
All right, finally in this section, let's talk about keeping the content engine running with content planning. Writer's block is the absolute enemy of digital discipline.
It is. And the solution isn't to just wait for inspiration to strike. It's to use structured AI prompts to maintain momentum. The prompt here is super focused and strategic. Plan 4 monthly blog topics on AI education specifically targeting beginners based on common forum questions.
I like the specificity. It's not just give me ideas. You're defining the quantity, the niche, the audience, and the source.
That's what makes it powerful. You're forcing the AI to be targeted. Tools like Notion AI or Trello AI, when you feed them your existing content or market data, they can analyze gaps, identify trends, and generate a whole calendar of ideas based on what people are actually asking.
Which prevents that debilitating content stall and keeps the gears turning.
Exactly.
So just by automating these 4 areas, backups, link audits, meta descriptions, and content planning, we've moved from reactive, tedious work to proactive strategic planning. That time dividend really starts to compound.
It really does. And this brings us right back to the content gear of our interlocking system. We've established that return visitors are motivated by new stuff, but volume alone isn't enough. It's also about voice, format, and relevance. The core mandate from the sources is that the site must speak today's language, not last year's buzzwords.
Oh, that danger of baited language is so real, especially in fast-moving fields like tech or marketing. If I land on a site about crypto and the terms are from 3 years ago, I instantly question their authority.
Precisely. Even if the core message is still sound. Using phrases that were trendy 6 months ago can instantly date your content and make you look out of touch. So the goal of content evolution is to use AI to ensure your message is constantly relevant, fresh, and delivered in engaging formats.
So let's explore how AI moves into creative assistance here. We have 3 powerful prompts from the sources. The first one is aimed right at topical relevance. Summarize recent AI news for students in a conversational tone.
This is a perfect example of leveraging AI for fast, valuable, targeted content. By asking the AI to summarize news for students and in a conversational tone, you're defining the audience and the stylistic filter. You're not asking for a research paper.
You're asking it to filter the noise.
Exactly. To turn it into a valuable, focused digest. This proves to your audience that you're current and that you understand their specific context. It's a huge value add.
And it turns a multi-hour research job into a 10-minute task. Okay, the second prompt focuses on visual engagement. Create a sequential outline for an infographic based on my latest blog post about technical maintenance.
Infographics are fantastic for breaking down complex ideas, especially technical routines. Now, the AI won't draw the final graphic for you. You still need a tool like Canva for that. But this prompt is powerful because it forces the AI to structure the content visually.
So it's giving you the blueprint.
It's giving you a blueprint for visualization. It might identify the 3 key steps in a checklist, suggest a flowchart for a decision, or pull out the key data points that need to be visualized. It drastically speeds up the whole process.
But I can see that. It's the same content, just presented in a much more digestible way.
Superior presentation. That's evolution in action.
And the third prompt targets user satisfaction and really saving yourself time. Write a comprehensive FAQ page for my new AI course website, focusing on minimizing redundant inquiries about prerequisites and payment.
This is a direct attack on that engagement time sink. If you're getting the same questions over and over again, what age is this for? Do I need to know how to code? That time is just wasted. AI can analyze your course documentation, existing feedback, even your competitors' sites, and instantly generate a comprehensive set of common questions and clear, consistent answers. It dramatically improves the user experience and frees up your time for higher value interactions.
So it's not just about producing more content, but content that is topical, easily consumed, and intelligently solves user problems before they even have to ask.
That's true content evolution right there.
Okay, so moving from proactive creation to reactive listening, we need to talk about feedback and data. User feedback is basically free, targeted research.
It's gold. You're getting direct, unfiltered insight into how your site is performing in the real world, straight from the people who matter most. The sources call it the speech bubbles leading to a checklist. If you're not listening, you can't improve.
And the coaching material encourages you to ask visitors 3 key questions. What are they?
They're simple, but so revealing. First, what did you like most? This isn't just for morale. It confirms what's working so you can double down on it. Second, what can we improve? This gives you a direct, prioritized path to fixing bottlenecks and frustrations. And third, how did you find us? This is vital for validating your marketing. Are your paid ads working, or is all your traffic from organic search?
The problem with feedback, though, is volume. Once you have hundreds of comments, analyzing them manually is just overwhelming.
Oh, totally. They're emotional, they're scattered, and that's where AI's strength comes in. Pattern recognition at scale. You feed all those raw answers into an AI with a prompt like, group these 500 comments into 5 actionable themes, identify the sentiment, and suggest 3 improvements based on the most frequent negative theme.
That's a huge leap.
It is. The AI will quickly synthesize it all. Maybe 150 people mentioned slow loading times, 100 couldn't find the payment page, and 50 loved the tutorial video. The AI consolidates this into themes, so instead of reading individual complaints, you get a prioritized list.
Like theme 1, technical speed, 30% frequency, negative sentiment, action, compress homepage images immediately.
Exactly that. It transforms anecdotal evidence into data-driven strategy.
Okay, now let's talk about the quantitative data analytics. The material stresses checking analytics weekly, comparing it to checking your pulse. Quietly, but consistently.
This weekly pulse check is non-negotiable for a digital leader. And we need to look beyond vanity metrics and focus on 4 key operational metrics, starting with the most basic indicator of a bad first impression: bounce rate.
So a high bounce rate means visitors land and leave almost immediately. What story does that tell?
The story is simple. You failed the immediate expectation test. Maybe your ad promised one thing and the page delivered another. Maybe it loaded too slowly. Or the design was just jarring. The action is clear. Improve that first impression. Review the first 10 seconds of user experience on your top landing pages.
What about average time on page? That seems like a clearer measure of quality.
It's a measure of engagement depth, for sure. It's a powerful quality signal. If users spend 5 minutes on a 1,000-word article, that's high engagement. If they spend 30 seconds, they're skimming or they're bored.
So the action is to make the content stickier.
Exactly. Enhance engagement. Add internal links. Break up the text with images. Embed a video. Do something to encourage deeper focus.
Then we have returning users. This moves us beyond just traffic and into loyalty.
Returning users is the direct measure of loyalty. A high percentage means you're building a tribe, not just attracting transient traffic. It means your content is so valuable people feel compelled to come back.
So what's the action there?
Reinforce that loyalty. Publish series content, articles, tutorials, updates that require multiple visits to consume the whole story. You're reinforcing the habit of returning.
And finally, top pages. How does this metric focus our strategy?
Top pages reveal your audience's proven interest areas. This is where you find your market fit. If your page on advanced AI prompts for small business gets 80% of your organic traffic, the market is screaming at you.
That they're hungry for that specific topic.
Massively hungry. So the strategic action is to immediately expand on that. Turn that one popular page into a whole section. Develop it into a mini course. Launch a whole series. The numbers are telling you exactly where to focus your resources for maximum impact.
That is the core of it, isn't it? Data isn't just a report card, it's a compass.
A compass guiding your content strategy and resource allocation. And if data is the compass, then security is the shield. We have to go back to that technical gear.
Right.
Safety isn't a task you just tick off and forget. It's part of the growth discipline. It's an ongoing process. If your site is growing, it becomes more valuable to you, and it also becomes a more attractive target.
So what are the core, let's call them AI-verified security habits that a digital leader has to adopt? What are the non-negotiables?
The sources detail 4 essential ones. First, always use two-factor authentication, or 2FA, for your admin login. Your password alone is not enough. It's the simplest, strongest barrier against unauthorized access.
And so often neglected. What's number 2?
Number 2 is keeping your SSL active and renewed. SSL is what encrypts the connection between the user's browser and your server. It's the little padlock in the browser bar. If that expires, browsers will flag your site as not secure
And that instantly destroys trust. People will just leave.
immediately. The third habit brings AI into the proactive scanning routine. The prompt here is, scan my site's configuration documentation for common security vulnerabilities like SQL injection risks and suggest patches.
So AI acts as a smart auditing assistant.
Yes, flagging obvious weaknesses in your code or server settings that a human might miss in a manual review.
And the fourth habit.
This is probably the most common point of failure. Update your plugins and themes monthly.
This has to be a non-negotiable part of your calendar.
Absolutely. Plugins are often the weak link. When a developer releases an update, it's frequently because they've patched a vulnerability. If you ignore that update, you are leaving the door wide open for an attack that targets that specific known flaw.
Okay, let's make the cost of ignoring this real. The sources tell the anecdote of Rizwan, the teacher from Hyderabad. Let's talk about the weight of his neglect.
So Rizwan runs an online training school. And like a lot of busy solo entrepreneurs, he prioritized creating content over what he saw as, the tedious janitorial tasks of maintenance.
He was focused on the front end, not the back end.
Exactly. And he let 6 months pass without updating plugins or even just checking that his automated backups were actually working properly.
6 months is an eternity in digital time. What happened?
The consequence arrived at the absolute worst possible time, his critical admission season. A vulnerability in an outdated payment plugin was exploited, and it led to a complete site crash and database corruption.
Oh, no.
Imagine it. New students trying to enroll, trying to pay tuition, and the entire system is down, just showing a generic server error. The loss wasn't just revenue. It was a loss of credibility and trust with hundreds of prospective students.
A complete disaster. How did he recover from that?
Well, the initial fix was manual. It was chaotic. It was expensive. He had to hire an emergency developer. But the long-term solution came from a dedicated AI assistant, which the sources mentioned was from a tool called Replit.
And what did the AI do?
It didn't just help restore the critical backup data after a frantic search to find the last good file. It proactively analyzed the incident. And more importantly, it then suggested and helped set up a rigid, fully automated weekly backup and verification script across 2 separate cloud storage locations.
So the AI didn't just put out the fire, it built a fireproof safe.
Exactly. And the lesson is so clear and powerful, straight from the coach. Maintenance is not an expense. It's insurance for your effort. Rizwan now gets a simple automated email every Monday confirming his database is safe in 2 places. And that little alert prevents the catastrophe from ever happening again.
You have to invest that small amount of time insistently, or you risk paying a catastrophic price later. It's a powerful story. Rizwan's story shows the need for maintaining your current size. But as a digital leader, you have to plan for success. What happens when your audience explodes? Moving towards, say, 10,000 visits a month is a huge milestone, but it demands an infrastructure upgrade.
Absolutely. The simple shared hosting that worked for 1,000 visitors will just buckle under the load of 10 times that. The source material shows how AI can really help in planning this migration, turning a daunting project into a series of achievable steps.
Okay, so let's break down the 3 main upgrade needs that come with scale. The first is obvious. You just need more robust storage and capacity.
Right. As your audience grows, your data grows. Your high-res images, your database, your videos. The AI solution prompt for this is, suggest 3 viable cloud hosting providers for a site with 10,000 monthly visits and 50 gigabyte storage, prioritizing speed and auto-scaling capabilities.
So it saves you hours of research trying to compare technical specs.
It leverages current market data to give you a short list of appropriate high-performance solutions.
The second need is speed and global delivery, especially for a geographically diverse audience.
This is where you need a content delivery network, or a CDN. A CDN is basically a global network of servers that stores copies of your website's content. your images, your static files all over the world. So when a user in London requests your page, they get it from a server in London, not from your main server in New York.
Which dramatically increases page speed. So how does AI help with something that sounds so complex?
The prompt is, provide a step-by-step implementation guide for setting up a CDN service like Cloudflare for my current hosting setup. The AI acts like an instant technical consultant, giving you the steps, the providers to consider, and the integration process.
And the third scaling need is about adding more features and performance, which often means migrating to a more powerful framework.
This is a big strategic shift. Maybe you started on a simple template-based platform, but now you need complex, personalized user experiences or specialized API integrations. The prompt here is highly technical. Plan migration from Replit to a modern framework like Next.js on Vercel.
That sounds terrifying for a solo creator.
It's a huge undertaking, but AI can act as an expert project manager. It can break the whole transition down into a project timeline: phase 1, data export phase 2, refactoring phase 3, testing. It can list potential compatibility issues. It empowers the creator to manage a really complex project.
So AI helps you plan the move to the bigger, stronger habitat the tree will eventually need. But once you have the traffic, you have to think beyond just numbers. You have to turn visitors into members.
This is the vital shift from a transactional mindset to a relational one. The focus moves to community building. Active forums, deep comment sections, or, as the sources really emphasize, high-value newsletters.
And the coach's tip on this is pretty powerful.
It's so counterintuitive, but so true. Communities grow brands faster than advertising. They provide consistent engagement, organic loyalty, and authentic promotion that no ad budget can ever replicate.
So how can AI help facilitate that community building?
By handling the initial outreach and nurturing sequence perfectly. For example, using the prompt, write a 6-part welcome email series for new subscribers to my AI learning blog, focusing the third email on asking for the subscriber's biggest pain point.
That's very specific.
It is. The AI provides the structure and professional draft for a sequence of emails. One introduces the mission, one highlights your best content, one gathers feedback. That immediately starts building a personal, trusting relationship. It automates the relationship initiation so you can focus on the long-term human interaction.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. Technical discipline, content strategy, security, scaling. Now we need to pull it all together into the fundamental mindset of a digital leader.
Right. And that mindset is all about using data not just for reporting, but for continuous prescriptive improvement.
And a leader has to synthesize vast amounts of data analytics, feedback into actionable 2-minute summaries. This seems like something AI is perfect for.
It shines at this. The point is efficiency. Instead of drowning in spreadsheets, you use a highly targeted prompt. Analyze my Google Analytics data from the last 30 days and write a 2-paragraph progress report that synthesizes traffic growth, top content, and suggests 3 immediate content creation actions.
Give me an example of the kind of insight that prompt would generate.
The source material provides a perfect model. The output might look something like this. Traffic grew 12%, driven primarily by searches for AI model comparison. Users stayed 40% longer on the tutorial page about prompt engineering, but immediately bounced from the outdated pricing page.
Okay, that's the descriptive part. What about the prescriptive part?
It continues, prescribed actions. 1, update the pricing page immediately. 2, add 2 similar in-depth guides on model comparison next week. 3, investigate optimizing site speed on mobile as mobile bounce rate increased.
So it's not just what happened, it's what to do next.
Exactly. The insight isn't just descriptive, it's entirely prescriptive. It tells you what happened, why it matters, and the direct immediate action required. The feedback loop closes perfectly.
So what does this all mean philosophically? The coach's insight brings us back to the core lesson of this entire deep dive, doesn't it?
It does. And the final point is arguably the most important one. Sustaining growth is ultimately more about discipline than it is about data. AI show you the path, but the creator has to walk it. Every single week, you can generate all the AI reports in the world, but if you lack the discipline to implement the suggested action, to update the plugins, to write the blog post, to fix the bounce rate, the data is completely worthless. Discipline is what turns data into digital growth.
Let's quickly review the 6 core concepts we covered today, a quick summary of the key lessons.
Okay. First, maintenance is respect. Regular care keeps your site healthy and avoids that deadly staleness.
Right.
Second, automation is liberation. Use AI to handle the repetitive tasks to free up your creative time. Third, analytics is listening. Check your pulse weekly to guide your strategy.
Fourth, security is insurance.
Exactly. Protect your data and users continuously. Fifth, scaling is proactive planning. Upgrade your resources as your audience grows. And sixth, community is loyalty. Shift from attracting traffic to building a tribe.
That is a phenomenal toolkit. So for the practical application, the practice zone for you, the listener, we want you to immediately establish a simple growth routine.
Start small, but start with commitment. Schedule your weekly technical tasks, backups, plugin checks, and your monthly content updates. Use Google Calendar, use Notion AI, whatever. Just get it on a schedule.
Next, delegate the planning. Ask an AI to design a monthly maintenance checklist for your specific site. The prompt is ready for you. Design a monthly maintenance checklist for my AI course website, including both technical and content review steps, and then print it out.
And finally, don't try to measure everything at once. Focus. Just track one single metric for a month. Commit to reducing your bounce rate or increasing your average time on page. See how your efforts move that one needle.
The ultimate transition from just being a developer to becoming a digital leader, it happens when you treat your site not as code, but as a living partner. And when you recognize AI as your strategic, indispensable assistant. Growth isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily, continuous conversation with your website.
And that conversation requires discipline and respect for your own work. So the final provocative thought for you to carry forward is this. Based on the habits you established this week, the commitment to discipline, the strategic use of AI, what will your website look like in 1 year? Will it be a stale relic of an old idea, or will it be a thriving, resilient tree, firmly planted and reaching for the sky?
We hope this deep dive has given you the tools you need to commit to that ongoing conversation. Thank you for sharing your sources with us and letting us guide you on this journey.
We look forward to seeing you at the next deep dive.